Welcome to part 2 in the training series on sacramental record keeping in the Archdiocese of Seattle. In this session, we're focusing on how to record and annotate baptismal records. Baptism is the foundation of a person's sacramental life, so keeping accurate, well-maintained records is essential for both the Church and the individuals that we serve. In this video, we'll cover how to properly record baptisms using verified information, how to handle special cases like adoption, same-sex parents, and gender changes, and how to annotate baptismal records to reflect later sacraments or changes in canonical status. Let's get started. The baptismal register is the Church's official record of a person's baptism, so it's important that the information entered is accurate and based on approved sources. We can't rely solely on the information provided in the baptismal intake form. We always need official documentation to verify the accuracy of those details. So what sources are approved when creating or updating a baptismal record? First, the baptismal intake form, filled out by the parents and always verified with a civil birth certificate. The godparent form, which confirms that the chosen sponsors meet eligibility requirements. Sacramental notification forms for updating baptismal records. These document any later sacraments or official changes to the person's canonical status. And finally, in rare cases where no record exists, sworn affidavits from parents or godparents can be used to attest to the baptism. A baptismal record must include all of the following details: the full name of the person being baptized, exactly as it's given on their birth certificate, the date and place of birth, also verified by their birth certificate, the full names of both parents, again as shown on their birth certificate, the place and date of baptism, and the full names of the sponsors. If the information on the baptismal form does not match the birth certificate, it needs to be addressed before the baptism is recorded. Start by letting the parents know and giving them a chance to have the birth certificate corrected by the state or county that issued it. If you don't hear back within a reasonable time, about a month, go ahead and record the information from the birth certificate and add a note like discrepancy, recorded per birth certificate. This note helps explain the situation and shows that you followed up appropriately. Except in rare cases, every person being baptized should have at least one sponsor. Canon law states that there can be one male sponsor, one female sponsor, or one of each, but not two of the same gender. If there's only one Catholic sponsor, a validly baptized non-Catholic Christian who actively practices their faith can stand with them as a Christian witness. A Christian witness is not a sponsor, but they are still recorded in the register. When entering them in the register and on the certificate, write their name followed by the word witness in parentheses. For example, Susie Smith and John Doe witness. This tells us that Susie Smith is the Catholic sponsor and John Doe is a non-Catholic witness. A godparent proxy is someone who stands in for a godparent when they can't be present at the baptism. The proxy's role is purely ceremonial. They're not considered a sponsor and don't have any responsibilities beyond being there during the baptism. In the register, list the name of the proxy followed by a note that says proxy for, and then the godparent's name. For example, John Doe, proxy for Benjamin Smith. But when it comes to the baptismal certificate, don't list the proxy. Only the actual godparent's name should appear there. Church law allows anyone, even a lay person or non-Christian, to perform a baptism in cases of imminent danger of death, as long as it's done with sincere intent and the Trinitarian formula is used. When this happens, the emergency baptism should be reported to the parent's parish if it's a child, or to the parish where the person lives if the family isn't registered anywhere. Record the details of the baptism in your register And in the remarks column, just write emergency baptism. If the person survives and your parish later conducts a ceremony, add a notation in the register, rites supplied. This confirms that the full liturgical ceremonies were completed following the emergency baptism. In cases of adoption, diocesan policy advises parents to wait until an adoption is finalized before having the child baptized. This helps avoid having to amend the register later. If the child is adopted before baptism, record it like any other baptism using the child's adoptive name and the adoptive parents' names as shown on the post-adoption birth certificate or court documents. If the child is adopted after baptism, write in the notations column of their original entry, adoption. Do not issue from this record. See entry X on page X. Then create a new entry using the information from the updated civil birth certificate or court documents. Pre-adoption information in your baptismal registers must always be kept confidential. However, if an adopted person comes to you requesting their pre-adoption details, you can let them know that Washington State allows adoptees age 18 or older to request their original birth certificate through the Department of Health. The only exception would be if a birth parent has filed a contact preference form requesting that the information not be released. When parents are not married, you should record the names of both the mother and the father only if there is public proof that they are both the child's parents. This could be through a birth certificate, a court document, or a declaration of maternity or paternity made directly to the pastor. That declaration must happen in the presence of two witnesses, and the pastor should then prepare an affidavit to be signed by the parent, those two witnesses, and the pastor. The affidavit is kept on file permanently. This process helps ensure that the information in the register is accurate and verifiable. Children of same-sex couples can be presented for baptism just like any other child. There are just a few additional things to keep in mind here. In both the register and on the baptismal certificate, use the term parent in place of mother and father. For example, parent 1 and parent 2. A state-issued birth certificate or legal adoption papers must be provided as supporting documentation to confirm the legal parentage of both parties, and then be sure to record all relevant details about the child's birth, adoption, or surrogate parentage in the notations column of the register. Let's switch gears now and talk about annotations in sacramental records. These are notes or updates often added after the original record is created. In sacramental registers, annotations go in the remarks or comments column. They're also recorded on the back of the baptismal certificate. For example, when your parish receives a notification form from another parish, you're being asked to update that person's baptismal record to reflect the new sacramental status. This system ensures that all sacraments a person receives are documented in one central place. Some common annotations in baptismal registers include reception of later sacraments, religious profession, emergency baptisms, marriage annulments, laicizations, changes of rite, gender reassignments, and other canonical or civil status changes. Instead of walking through how to record each of these here, we've created a handout with detailed examples showing how to properly annotate the register in each of these situations. The link to that handout is in the description area of this video. Well, thank you for watching this overview of baptismal records and annotations. If you're new to parish records, we strongly recommend watching all videos in sequence, starting with our Introduction to Sacramental Records. This will give you a solid foundation in proper record keeping. For those of you with more experience who are looking to refresh your knowledge on specific topics, feel free to jump to the video that addresses your immediate questions. Our next video covers the registers of catechumens and reception into full communion, which builds on some of the concepts we've covered so far. Remember, accurate record keeping is vital to our ministry. It supports our current pastoral needs and preserves our community's history for future generations. If you have any questions after watching this training series, don't hesitate to contact us here in the archives. Our email address is provided in the description area of each video.